Hey, what do you know? Today it's already. Hey, what do you know? Today it's already Friday, and it's been a long day. So, I just wanted to share with you something that I am kind of experimenting with. And in any case, if you just join us, welcome to the Melvin Live Show. In this show, we talked about a few things: the mindset, skill set, and tool set of building a 1%, 1 million all digital business. And if this is the first time you are joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I truly invite you, if you have the desire to build a 1%, 1 million business or digital business, that's what we're talking about here, then this show it's for you. Why? Because over time, this is 108th episode, and so over the last 100 over episodes, I have been refining and experimenting with many things, and I finally think that I've kind of streamlined the entire process itself and getting to how it should be done. And so the core idea behind this whole process is that I want to be able to share everything that I know in terms of what I teach, and what I've learned in the area of building this 1% 1 million or digital business. And and so the core idea behind this is that in the process of doing so, I want to be able to teach and share with you what I've learned and how I've implemented it, the successes, the wins, as well as the failures, and all that, all wrap up in this nice little thing called the Melvin Live Show. So after that, what I have intended to do is that I am going to set up a Patreon account. And so I would want to invite all of you to join as a patron. And as a patron itself, what you would get is you would get exclusive content as well as um, you know uh, exclusive material, which will only be made available to the patron members. And in addition to that, I may also consider, I've not decided yet, but I may consider doing some kind of a live session to teach more in depth stuff, so that you are able to get a better sense of how it works itself. So you get a chance to ask questions, online and in real time itself. So that's really the thing that I want to be able to do for you. All right, and so with that out of the way, what we're going to be talking about today is thumbnails, right? So what exactly are thumbnails? If you look at what I have here, this is what we call a thumbnail. All right, and so in the thumbnail itself, what we usually do is that we use that as something that people would see, um, as a, how should I say that, as a thing that kind of tells you what this video is all about. So what's going to happen is that most of the time, you are probably, for instance, if you come into any YouTube channel, um, and you go out and you type in something, let me show you what I mean. All right. Okay. So let's say you come to a YouTube channel and you are typing, you're looking for something. Let's say you want to look at, online courses, right? So you want to look for online courses. Now, what happened is that you will see all these thumbnails, and some of these thumbnails would definitely catch your attention, right? Like for example, as you scroll through this, I would say that there are some thumbnail which are kind of expected, like this one, right? A guy. Most of the time, they tend to be bold. I do not know why, But the guy over there explaining certain thing, and it kind of tells you that what to expect, right? And then you have some of this animated type of thumbnail, like you see here, right? Which is something that I'm experimenting with. So instead of putting myself on the front of the thumbnail, I wanted to do this, and of course, there are many others here. Now, what happened is that the thumbnail is, let's say you search for something like online courses, and you scroll through this list here. What's going to make you stop, right? What is the one thing that make you stop? So before I tell you about that one thing, I would want to share with you a story. Now, a couple of years back, I actually coordinated with, I collaborated with three other individuals. And in the collaboration itself, what we intended to do was run a we wanted to run a training program. And so the training program essentially was to showcase to corporates that these are the things that we can do, and how we are able to use a series of tools to help them design a better way to influence their customers. So that is the core idea behind that. And so one of the ways to really get people to come for this program is to do promotion. So when you do promotion, arguably you would send to, the first level would be all your connections. And then after that, you want to reach out to what we call the core audience. Now, the core audience by far, as one of my friends like to tell me, the idea with the core audience is that it is infinite, because you arguably can reach as many people as you want, as long as you have the right strategy and budget to do so. And so that was the premise. The first ring, the first concentric circle that we were looking at was that, people who are our close connection, people that we know, right? We sent out the first batch of email to them. And then the second batch of emails that we went out to was, through the people that give us the opportunity to reach out to their audience. So we were in several Facebook groups, and the admins allow us to kind of share this training that we were conducting with their members itself. And so that was helpful. But then we come to a halt because, there is just so many people that we know. And so the next phase, of course, is to reach out to core audience. That means people that we do not know, but we think that they may be interested in attending this program. And so what I did essentially was I helped them to strategize and to create a series of Facebook campaigns. And in this series of Facebook campaigns, essentially what I have was that, I wanted to create a visual, right? I wanted to create a visual that would stop people in their tracks. So as you're scrolling through, like earlier on, as I shared with you, right? As you're scrolling through this list of online courses, videos related to online courses, what's going to make you stop, right? What's going to make you stop? And that was the thing that was in my mind. I mean, arguably, there are going to be so many people conducting training, and there are going to be so many people that is going to say that, well, how do you compare to these people, right? And what is the differentiating factor and all that stuff? So, there's just so many people out there. And so how do you stand out, right? First, how do you stand out? Secondly, as people are scrolling through this whole list itself, what makes them stop, right? What makes them stop and say that, hey, this top 10 certification, maybe this is the one that, this is the one that caught my eye. And then I will look at the title, And then I would probably look at how long this video is. And if it's going to be something on online course, I would expect it to be no less than 10 minutes, right? So this one is like 10:19. So I think, it's probably just about right. Um, but if it's something like, 6 minutes, I'm not so sure about that. Okay, so the key idea here is that you want people to as they're scrolling through to stop. Okay, and so the way that I was looking at it was fairly simple, because I was saying that, well, we got to be able to do something that get people to want to stop scrolling. And so if I were to ask you, like, if you were to do an ad for a training that you're promoting, what kind of visual would you expect to see? So would you expect to see something like, people doing training, and then they are like writing on the wall, and you know uh, students attending the training itself? So perhaps something like this might be what you would expect, right? And of course, that creates what we call, um, um, you know, uh, it, it, it's something that we are conditioned to. And so when you see this picture, you kind of know or think or interpret that this thing is about training, right? And so if you're not interested in trading, well, obviously you are going to just, scroll on. Now, what we did was that we tried with a few visuals. So one is we went with the conventional visuals that are directly related to trading, like this one, right? And we tried a few, other visuals itself. But the one that got us the most clicks, and not just clicks, but that got us the most conversion, right, was something else. Now, before I get into that, I'd like to kind of break it down for you. So first, you have an ad. Now, people need to stop when they see your ad. They must want to read it further. And once they read it, the next thing that you want them to do is you want them to click on it. And when they clicked on it, you want them to wait for their page to load, and then read through what is written on that page itself, and then do the call to action that you want them to take. So there are, in effect, four different steps that must be thought through. So step one is someone is going to notice your ad. Step two is they are going to click on your ad. Step three is they are going to read through what you have written on the page that they landed on. And then step four, it's when they will take the action that you want them to take. And so we knew that when people read the ad, they will click on the ad because it's a strong, compelling offer. So every time where we have someone who clicked on the ad, they will go to the landing site, and a good percentage of them would actually convert. Now, the issue is when we show them this picture, not many people even bother to stop scrolling. Not many people even bother to stop and read the ad. But when we change the picture, so I told you we experimented with numerous pictures itself, and the best picture that gave us the best click, possible, is this one. And if you ask me, if you look at this picture has no, it's got nothing related to, you know, training at all. I mean, other than the fact that this girl is seated there among these empty chairs. I mean, for all you know, it's like, you know, this is a bad idea because it's saying that, well, there's only one person who's going to show up for your course, right? But there's this one girl sitting in this, you know, among these empty chairs, holding on to a red apple and looking upwards. I mean, I don't even know what this means, right? But, you know, it blew my mind because this was the highest converting ad. This was the highest converting ad in the sense that, you know, the percentage of people who saw this ad stopped, read this ad, and clicked through it. Like I said, when people read the ad, they will click through to see the landing page. But this visual was the one that got the most number of people to stop scrolling and read the ad. And so this is similar to how it would be when you are doing a YouTube thumbnail, right? So when you do a YouTube thumbnail, what are some of the elements that, what is the main intent of this? Well, let's break that down, okay? Number one is that the whole idea is for someone to stop scrolling and want to read what is, or want to pay attention to what is on that thumbnail. Number two, for some reason, that thumbnail must communicate to that person that the video is going to be of high quality and you ought to check it out. And so with that itself, you know, let's replay that. Someone is scrolling through after they search for certain thing. They are scrolling through this list of videos and they would stop because of the thumbnail. And they would look at the thumbnail and they will somehow, the thumbnail will somehow communicate to them that this video is of good quality and you should pay attention to that. Now, all that happened in a span of like 2 seconds or maybe 3 seconds. And so what you want to think about this is, why is this happening? Now, the interesting part about this whole experiment is that it is backed up by science. So there is this economist who won a Nobel Prize. His name is Daniel Kahneman, and he wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. Now, in the book itself, it basically talks about, I mean, without going into the nitty-gritty of it, essentially it's talking about, you know, our brain has got two systems. Now, system one, it's the lizard brain, right? It doesn't quite it responds according to the gut feel, and it responds immediately. It kind of helps you make that kind of a snap decision, that fight or flight attitude or action, right? So when you see, for example, when you see a moving car coming towards you, what do? You do not stand there and analyze the situation and say, wow, you know, is it coming at what speed? You run, you get out of the way, right? Just like, you know, if you're walking down the street and you see a ball coming at you, you dodge it, right? And so that's kind of an instinct, which is why, you know, when I was practicing Aikido, I remember that my sensei would make us do a particular move over and over and over again. So you could literally go to one class, and in that 1 hour itself, he would just do the same move over and over and over and over again. Now, of course, you know, some of us bitch about it, but the truth of the matter is that what he is getting us to do is to commit that to muscle memory. And so whenever we are faced with a particular a stimulus, we will be able to respond accordingly without even thinking, right? Without even thinking, like, oh, should I go with my left hand or my right hand, or how should I move? You just know what to do, right? And so that it's one system. Now the other system is where you look at something and you would stop and analyze it, right? You stop and analyze it. So for example, if you get a call from someone and they kind of tell you, hey, we want you to come down to have a chat with us, to explore some opportunities, how we can work together. You probably want to take some time to uh, make the decision and to decide what you want to do, because you may want to analyze, like, is this a good time? Have I got enough bandwidth? Is this an area that I can work on? And so on. So you may not make the kind of a snap judgment, but what you would do is you would actually sit down and analyze something, right? You would sit down and analyze that. And so this is akin to, like, before this, I was actually coaching my son in his math. And there were some questions that you get in math where you would have to actually dissect it and read it carefully, because otherwise you will fall to the trap of the what they call distractor. The distractor is the main aim of the distractor is to trick you or to trick you so that you think that this is the answer. And this is where the things get interesting, right? Because you have these two system in your brain. One, it's just whenever you see certain thing, it's just click and say that, okay, if I see this, it means this. Right? So if I see for example, if I see someone who is well dressed and has got a nice YouTube background, I would tend to think that the person is a professional, or that someone is someone that I would pay attention to. Whereas if the background it's all crappy, then it might lead you to say, well, I'm not sure if this guy is legit, right? So that it's that one system that causes you to not even rationalize, but immediately jump to conclusion. Now then there's the other system itself that requires you to slow down and to think through. And so when you create that YouTube thumbnail, which system would you be looking at? Obviously, you would be looking at the first system, the one that requires people or sets people up to want to respond immediately. Oh, this looks good. Let's check it out. That's what you want. Of course, you have to deliver your end of the bargain. That means you have to provide great content, because if it's a clickbait kind of a thumbnail that you get people's attention, people click on it, but then very quickly they know that it is not good enough, then it's kind of like bounce rate, and that will communicate to YouTube that this video it's actually not good, but it's using ways to trick people to click through it. And as a result of that, the algorithm might punishes your video and push it down the list of search result itself. I have not concluded with the experiment, but the way I look at it is that you have to be able to, what are some of the things that will get people to respond or to immediately think or make that connection that this equals to a good video and it's something that is worth my time to check it out. What do you think? What are the kind of thumbnails you are using? And have you got a kind of a formula for me? If you have, please share it with me because I would want to up my game in terms of the thumbnail of my YouTube videos itself. All right. And so with that, I thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is the Melbourne Live Show. And I, in the last couple of days, I'm just having so much fun doing this live show because I think I'm finally getting the hang of it, and I kind of not just doing it because I have to do it, but because I want to do it and I want to share what I've learned with you. And so with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Facebook. And if you have got questions or you want me to cover certain topics in subsequent videos, make sure you send me a DM or leave me a comment, and I will see how it will feed into my future episodes itself. With that, thank you and have a good night. Bye bye.